Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all can't hear me? All right. Board members, you have received the agenda for the meeting. May I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the agenda, please raise your right hand.
All right, thank you, board members. Tonight, for our receivers information, we got several policy updates that we're going to start looking at, when April hits. Actually, before April hits, we start looking at next year, and a lot of these are receivers information tonight. Obviously, we'll look at some of the suggestions you may have, and we'll look at trying to approve any changes for the next board meeting. First item, the recommended changes to policy 5.21 seeks to clarify language in the policy as it relates to smart glasses and all headphones. Policy 521 is our cell phone policy. It's our Focus Act, as many of you know about it. Just like anything, you put things in place and you get going a year and you start making some adjustments. So there's some language there we need to update. Second item, policy number 5.28. The recommended changes to policy 5.28 seeks to clarify what is defined as detention. The recommended changes give administrators more flexibility as it relates to detention. The next item, the recommended changes to policy 6.16 provides clearer language as it relates to midterms and finals. It also adds a category for exemptions for students that have a C with limited absences. This is something, we talked about at the work session. This is something that came up with our secondary teachers council that I meet with. Now, I know we also discussed some language there about students with an A and looking at some absence changes there for next year. I've got a meeting coming up with that group, I believe it's next week, so I wanted to kind of pitch it to them as well, so there may be some additional changes there as well. The next item contains recommended change, removes some verbiage that we did not need in that policy. Item number 5, the recommended change removes language that is no longer needed and replaces the policy with language that more accurately reflects our current processes and procedures. Finally, item number 6 is our code of conduct for the 26-27 school year. At a recent work session, we discussed a lot with the code of conduct. We went very detailed. I showed you every change we were looking at making. I will say I think this year's changes are much less than what they have been in the past, and I think this document's getting better and better each year. But some of the highlights are the major parts there that are in your packet that we'll look at moving forward. We wanted to add some clear consequences to Section B in the Code of Conduct. Last year we added, if you look at our Code of Conduct now, there's a chart there with each infraction for letter C. We've had an internal guide that we've used for as many years as I've been in the district. We're gradually getting that back to level B. So we're looking at some changes there so that parents can clearly see progressive discipline and what we're expecting. We're also looking at making some adjustments to the bus discipline portion of the Code of Conduct to give administrators some more flexibility in terms of a range for the infractions that we're seeing some on the buses. Now, again, we did tighten that down last year, and this year has been, I think everybody will tell you, has been much better in terms of the behavior we're seeing on the buses, and our drivers will echo that as well. But just like anything, you want to make some tweaks as you go. We're also looking at making an adjustment to the overall process for Class A infractions. This was requested by both the elementary and secondary superintendent council. The current model in your packet allows for a more immediate consequence on the second step, which was requested by many teachers on the council. The current model there had a warning. Several of the teachers asked for a little more flexibility in terms of what they're dealing with the discipline. So again, that's a change that they asked for, and I think it will help overall as well. We also have included a discipline ban for grades K through 2 that we're going to look at adding for the Code of Conduct. Now, this is still a work in progress. We up until this year or up until now, there's never really been a discipline ban for our kindergarten through second grades there. We're going to try to take the same approach we've had with the other classifications, put it clearly in the Code of Conduct what we expect. And again, there may be some changes there with policy. We're looking at, like we've talked about several times, do we bring in some other options there with some of our more severe behaviors in terms of behavior units or possible alternative school, things of that nature. But we're working through the hiring cycle, and as we work through that, we'll know a little more on what we can do. So, but no matter what the outcome of that is, I believe there needs to be clear guidance with teachers and students on what we expect even in those grades as well, so that everybody understands what we need to have happen in our classrooms. Finally, with pre-K, you'll see a section in the Code of Conduct devoted just to pre-K. This is something a lot of our pre-K staff has asked for. We've always had a Code of Conduct with pre-K. It's always been in the handbook or the guidance that parents sign up for. The things that you see there with the A, B, and C discipline progression, guys, it's the same thing we've always done in Autauga County for as long as we've had pre-K. So just streamlining that, putting it where it needs to be, which is another section of the Code of Conduct, so that everything parents have, everything they need is right there in a easy document to navigate. So are there any questions on anything for the first section here?
I do. I have one question. I know that we talked in our work session about your Class B infractions, to maybe add, like how you did in the bus, in our bus code of conduct, the intent versus no intent, or major and minor, because I know some of your Class B infractions, your first disciplinary action is, 3 days of ISS. So, about looking at some of those, like the cell phone violation.
Yeah, so in the current document you have now, what we did there was, I believe it may be the first thing in your document. There's a section there with the cell phone infractions, and that chart does look a little different than the rest of the progression in Section B. Now, full disclosure, at the moment, that chart is the same that we've used. And to answer what you're talking about, first infraction right now for cell phones or communication devices is in the secondary world is 3 days ISS. That's definitely something we can go back and look at, and discuss with our principals and see if there's, by intent, I guess you're saying like.
Yeah, like if if they have their cell phone out in class and they're being defiant, or if their phone accidentally buzzed in their backpack,
Gotcha.
kind of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely something we can go back and look at. I think we all thought that, I don't know if anybody was looking forward to policing this rule this year.
No.
I think everybody will tell you, we're now in April, and it's went a lot better than what we thought. Now, the current policy is strong. There's no dancing around that. I mean, it is, the law says it has to be powered off and it has to be off the person. So we took a pretty hard stance on that. Now, we've been in it a year. It's something we can go back and look at and see, are we getting what we need to from student behavior and outcomes, or do we need to look at changing that? So, yeah, I have no problem going back. We got a principals meeting actually Wednesday of this week. And then, like I said, I have the secondary council coming up next week. So I'll be able to get a lot of feedback on possibly looking at that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Before the recommendation for approval of the consent agenda, I want to just give you some information on each one of the items. Item number 3 contains all athletic and field trips for the month and the coming months. Item number 4 contains a list of items that are no longer in working condition and need to be disposed. Item number 5 contains supplemental pay requests for summer learning, instructional services, school activities, and other services. Item number 6 requests approval for the curriculum and instruction department to use the ALSD allotted extended learning and assessment funds to purchase iReady for grades K through 8 in the amount of $294,984. Item number 7, request approval to enter into an agreement with the YMCA like we do every year for them to utilize our facilities and for after-school care. I do want to pause there real quick. I don't know if I've updated you guys on this. We're working hand in hand with the Y on trying to get an after-school option for our Billingsley families as well. Ms. Thomas, I'm going to put you on the spot. Remind me when that survey goes out, or have we put it out yet?
No, we haven't yet. It's in the hands of the lab, making sure we said all the things correctly, so we hope to send it out. It'll be out before the end of the month.
Got you. So.
It's in the whole month of May to let us know.
Right, so I know many of you have received questions, I have as well. The Y is a phenomenal partner. I met with Mr. Lewis on it the other day. Mr. Lewis is working hand in hand with Ms. Thomas on this. If there's, it's just like anything, if there's enough demand there to justify it, then it's something they're gonna look at, and I think it would greatly help our Billingsley families if we can do that. So Billingsley families that are watching live and reaching out to you guys, that survey will be coming out very soon. That survey will drive a lot of the next decisions that come for after-school care. So if that does happen, I may have to bring this agreement back to you to amend it with Billingsley, because obviously what's on there right now does not have that, but just FYI, in case we have to make some changes. Item number 8 contains a list of Transportation Department bus drivers and aides that would like to participate in the 2026 summer program. Bus drivers will be compensated $18 an hour, and bus aides will be compensated $15 an hour. Salaries will be paid using federal funds. Item number 9 requests approval for teacher stipends to be provided to support staff members who assist with planning and implementing KinderQuest, ensuring the event is successful and impactful for all students. Funding will be provided through the ARI implementation grant that was awarded earlier this year through the ALSD. Lastly, item number 10, request approval to accept bid number CN26-001, summer feeding supplementary grocery items from the companies listed in your packets. Are there any questions with anything in the consent agenda? All right, with no questions.
We do have a question about number 9.
I will need to abstain from voting from item number 9 for personal reasons.
Okay?
Okay.
So, Mr. Superintendent, as a point of order, we'll just take a voice vote on number 9. We can do the consent agenda after that. Is that, okay? I'm sorry, did everybody hear that? We're gonna take a voice vote on item number 9 because we have an abstention, and then we'll go and do the following or remaining items on that consent agenda there. So, okay. So with that being said, you've heard the recommendation. Item number 9, we have an abstention, and we'll need a vote from the 3 of us.
I need a motion first.
We,
A motion to accept.
I'm sorry, a motion to accept Brad's abstention.
Yes, I make a motion.
I second.
And we have a second. Okay, all in favor? All right. Now, the voice vote for item number 9, okay? All in favor, raise your right hand. Okay? Now,
Do you need a motion to vote on item number 9?
yes?
Okay, yes.
Okay,
I make a motion to vote on item number 9.
okay.
I second.
All right. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay? Now, finally, you have heard the superintendent's recommendation on items 1 through 10, excluding number 9. May I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. Very good. Okay, we have navigated the rough waters. All right.
Great job, guys, great job. All right.
I didn't even follow the script on that one. We just had to make that work.
All right. At this time, I recommend approval of personnel report as presented.
Oh, no, consent agenda.
Excuse me?
Oh, did we do that?
Y'all just did the consent, correct?
Yeah, 1 through 9, yeah.
Oh, yep.
Okay, so, board members, you've heard the superintendent's recommendation on the personnel report. May I get a motion to approve?
I make-
Motion to approve.
I second.
Second? Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. Very good.
All right, at this time, I would like to ask Ms. Wallace to come forward to provide us with the March bank and financial statements.
Good evening. So this night's presentation is marked, it's the 50% mark, 6-month of our fiscal period. And so in your board packets, you have your snapshot analysis where our revenues as collected up till March was 53 million, showing that we're at 58% of our budget. For expenditures, we're at 49.9 million and we're right at 50% of our budget. So you can see our expenditures are tracking well. Please keep in mind that some of the revenues we still have that are from the prior years that we're still yet to spend. So that's why you're gonna see that slight uptick on that. Payroll for the month of March was 6.9 million. Our fund balance was 65.9. Our local tax revenues, total collected as of March is 17 million. March's collections was 1.2, so we're at 79% of our budget. Once again, you'll start seeing that tailor down, because it's just the sales tax, because we've already collected the bulk of our ad valorem. Please keep in mind that of our local tax revenue budgeted, there's approximately 11 million that we have to allocate toward our state match. Any questions on March? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. At this time, I recommend approval of the March bank and financial statements as presented.
All right, board members, you have heard the superintendent's recommendation. May I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, please raise your right hand.
All right, just two quick things on the superintendent report. I'm sure you've seen a lot of the things we're putting out there on No Absence April. I know we're all getting ready to close out the year, and sometimes it gets hard to want to come to school as a student. I've got 5 in the system, so I understand the struggle sometimes with our parents. But our schools are doing a really good job. Miss Allen, Miss Thomas doing a really good job. Miss Addison, everybody's pushing hard. It's a big deal because obviously if you're not in school, you can't learn. So you'll see all kinds of great incentives going out there, and just really trying to land the plane on what's been a great year. So huge shout out to everybody working hard on No Absence April. Also want to point out a huge congratulations in order to Prattville Elementary School's Junior Master Gardeners for being named the month of March Junior Master Gardener National Group of the Month. That's quite the mouthful. I rehearsed that about 7 times and still didn't get it right. But the group of students explored plant science, nutrition, and gardening through the Learn, Grow, Eat, and Go program with the Autauga County Master Gardeners earlier this year. And along the way, they also led a food drive that collected over 750 items to help our families in need. So great job there. It's a great program. We have a lot of great partners that work with us, and it's just another example of our kids and our staff doing everything the right way. So we just want to give them a huge shout out there. Any questions for me? All right, that's all I got.
Board members, being there's no further business, may I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?